Okay, we're sitting here talking with Rusty Amer, pilot extraordinaire. Thanks for having me over, Rusty.
My pleasure, Craig.
Great. If you could just start with giving us a bit about your background and experience as a pilot, that'd be great.
I'm a retired United Airlines pilot with about 45 years of airline training and flight operation experience.
Now, isn't it true that you were a captain of Flight 175, the plane that allegedly hit the South Tower of the World Trade Center?
I had flown that particular trip number, yes, as a captain of Flight 175 previously at United.
And as well as Flight 93, I believe.
Correct. That was one of our regular runs, so I had many times flown those particular trips.
Now, you worked for United for 40 years?
No, I was at United a lot less than that, but my total airline experience is over 40 years. I'm not a scientist. As a pilot, I consider myself more of a technician. That I go by touch, feel, my previous experience, my training, and come up with my own conclusions. And again, what we've heard of the so-called 9/11 Commission only brought more questions than answers.
You're also a member of Pilots for 9/11 Truth, isn't that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And have you seen our presentation, National Security Alert?
Yes, I have.
All right. So you know, of course, that we present many eyewitnesses to the event of the Pentagon attack.
Yes. I have seen the testimonies of those guys, and I think you guys did a very nice job of investigative reporting, basically.
The witnesses in our presentation, over and over, illustrate the flight path of the plane as being on the north side of the gas station. Did you find that convincing?
Yes, it was convincing. All these people could not have mistaken, and the way they presented their eyewitness account, to me, was convincing.
Okay. Now, how do you feel about the possibility of a plane transitioning from the north side of the gas station to the south side in order to line up with physical damage, starting with the light poles, and then cause the damage to the building, leading to the C-ring hole?
And that's where the technician in me says impossible. This airplane is designed for an entirely different mission.
What kind of airplane is that?
That's an F-4 Phantom. It's an old airplane. And it was designed to basically crash land, a controlled crash land on an aircraft carrier, and stop it and do it over and over again. This airplane was designed for an entirely different mission. The 757 was designed for an absolutely different type, but even this airplane, in my experience, could not perform that maneuver and hit those light poles and then enter the building the way it did. And when it comes to a 757, that's an entirely different story.
So you're saying it's even less likely for a 757?
Much less likely, yes.
And in other words, physically impossible?
Yes. And a massive airplane like this will not vaporize. There's been many crashes with commercial aircraft, and there's always been a lot of telltale evidence. As we saw in the Pentagon, there was basically none.
Right.
Hardly any. That aircraft basically, they claim it was vaporized.
Okay, so you think that it's impossible for a plane to transition from the north side of the gas station to the south side to hit the light poles. Now, how about the official story in general? In order for a plane to descend to the light poles and then pull up in order to hit the building low and level on the bottom floor?
Again, that's almost impossible for somebody with my experience to perform that maneuver, let alone a bunch of ragtag pilots that hardly could check out on a Cessna 172.
So would you recommend our presentation, National Security Alert, to anyone who's looking into questioning the events of the Pentagon and looking for independent evidence?
I would. You guys have done an excellent job of investigative reporting. And if somebody honestly wants some answers, I think that's a good place to go.